Thank you very much for joining us in this series of interviews with members of parliament. Today we are catching up with the member of parliament for Akachi North. That is the person of Honorable Nortsu Kotoe, Honorable Peter Nortsu Kotoe. The education sector this year has witnessed some turbulence. For the first time in a long time, almost all the various categories of schools were on strike. Basic school teachers were on strike at some point. University lecturers were on strike. Colleges of education teachers were on strike. University teachers were also on strike. There are other issues having to do with national service and whether or not the allowance must be increased or not. It currently is at 559 Ghana cedis. In these current economic challenges, there are those who have said that we need to raise that, and the Honorable MP has made a statement on the floor to that effect, and so we'll be getting some more on that. And then finally, there are matters having to do with Get Fund and how they are struggling to get by. He and some other colleagues of his are trying to uncap Get Fund monies that the ministry is using for other purposes. And so they have a bill currently going through the states in Parliament. So we'll be getting some knowledge on all those issues. Honorable, thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Honorable, like I said, this year has been one of the tough times for the education sector, where almost all categories of schools, teachers were on strike. Indeed, UTAG just put out a statement only yesterday saying that they were going to return to the classroom. But they had been on strike for 7 weeks, getting to 8 weeks. Some schools have had their calendar completely thrown out of gear. What have you made of, in particular 2022, of the education sector?
Thank you very much. As you rightly said, education in the country has gone through a lot of turbulence this year. For the first time in the history of this country, teachers at all levels, that is from kindergarten to the university, have all been on strike at the same time. This has never happened. And it is not good for the development of education in this country. This is because those who are responsible for managing education in this country are taking things for granted. If teachers go on strike just for the fact that they don't want the head of the service, I don't think you need to allow them to go on strike to resolve the matter. This is a matter they could have resolved behind doors. No need for it. But they waited until the teachers went on strike, and then they had to resort to ad hoc measures like going to court to put an injunction on them and all those things before they went back to the classroom. It's uncalled for.
It's uncalled for. Now, lecturers are coming back now. They went on strike at some points. There were a very lengthy strike that they embarked on.
Hold on. Let's close the door from the noise is coming. No, just move the stone.
Okay. So at some point, university lecturers were on strike. Like I said, they've just announced that they are getting back to the classroom, had to do with their fuel allowances. What do you think government can do generally in terms of industrial harmony to ensure that this does not recur, where almost all levels there's a strike?
At the beginning of this year, they took the Committee on Education and some other concerned stakeholders to talk to lecturers at the university, that is UTAG, to go back to the classroom, because we saw that it was going to disrupt the academic year. So they agreed and went back to the lecture room. But the unfortunate thing that happened was that government failed to honor their obligations. Do you see? So if we come to a meeting on agreement that it is the roadmap, let us all follow the roadmap. And you fail, and your employees go by that roadmap, by all means they will go back on strike again. So that's why I was saying that those who are managing education in the country are the people creating the problem. If we agree that, okay, this is going to be the fuel allowance, this is going to be the book allowance, this is going to be the base pay, go and work towards that and pay them. So once you do that, I think you don't have any problem. But if you go and sleep as a government and you don't care, once they have gone back to the lecture rooms, let's relax. to backfire. And that's what we have seen. So those who are responsible, I think the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Finance should collaborate and make sure that what is due to the lecturers and teachers, they do it in time. And then that will be okay. Right.
As we speak, government is negotiating base pay with labor. Labor have said they are not going below any point below 60%. There are those who have said government simply cannot afford that. Do you think that labor is being fair, including teachers, who are asking for 60% base pay in these times of economic uncertainties?
Yeah, government is the employer. And if the employee is asking for 60%, and as a government you feel you cannot pay, call them and explain the situation to them. Because we are all going through economic hardships now, and everybody goes to the same market. So if my pay is no good, I must demand for higher pay. So in any case, I agree that workers should demand for higher pay. I cannot run away from it. You see, so I support the workers to demand.
But can government afford that in these times?
That's what I'm saying, that as an employer, call your employees and say, oh, yes, it is good. You have demanded this. But because I have a challenge, I cannot do A, B, C, D. Do you see? That's what government should do, and offer them something tangible that can appease them.
But even as government goes through all this, your side in parliament is frustrating government's revenue-raising abilities. Government wants 2.5% VAT. They want to review e-levy from 1.5% to 1%, but remove the daily threshold. Your side say they will not approve that.
No, but all sums of money that we have approved for them so far, what have they done with them, with that money?
They said they've built roads, they've done schools.
Which roads? The roads in my constituency are there. I've not seen any improvement in roads network in my constituency. They've just come to remove the bitumen and all those things, and the people are suffering. So I have not seen anything they have done with the money we have given them. In any case, we had other sources of income. You say you were introducing e-levy, and we told you it was not going to work, and you said it will work. So you stopped road tolls.
Road tolls.
Do you see? So who is to blame? Are you to blame the minority, or you blame yourself? So I think government is not putting priorities first, and they should just forget about fanciful projects.
So you talk about priorities and fanciful projects. Are you putting a national cathedral as one of those?
Yeah, it's a fanciful project. Do we need it? Do we need it at this time of our economic crisis, so that you can put 80 million Ghana cedis in the budget, whilst you cannot pay for food items supplied to senior high schools? I have the records here. I can give it to you how much they are owing the schools. Do you see? So if students are hungry and say you want to put up a cathedral, do you think God will be happy with you? When the people are hungry, you want to put up a cathedral. What is the sense in it? So I feel strongly that we have misplaced priorities by this government.
Misplaced priorities. So we're in a conversation with the MP for Akachi North, Honorable Peter Nortsu Kotoe, on a number of happenings in the education sector. I told you that he made a statement on the floor regarding National Service Allowance, 559 Ghana cedis for NSPs. Is that enough in these current times? I'll come to that. But there are some very key issues that he has been raising over the course of this entire sitting of Parliament, having to do with Get Fund and their struggles. He and some colleagues introduced a bill to deal with the capping of Get Fund money. I want to know where that is currently. Honorable, where is that bill, that private members bill you are sponsoring? Where is it?
Yeah, before you even come to the bill, you know, Get Fund was established in 2000 with a 2.5% VAT revenue. That was to be used to fund education in this country, especially infrastructure and scholarship, as well as other things related to the development of education in the country. And that has been the trend till this government came to power. Then in 2017, they decided to cap the proceeds to Get Fund, which was against the law. Now, a few years ago, they removed Get Fund from a VAT and made it a straight line tax of 2.5, the same. Now, this year, the Get Fund should have received about 3.4 billion Ghana cedis in revenue. But what they have given them is just about 1.4 billion. So look at that difference. Now, if you calculate it over the years since 2017, if monies meant for Get Fund were given to them, what will happen is that they will not need to go to Dachi Bond to go and borrow any money from there. They could have done everything that they wanted to do as a fund. So when we sat down, we looked at what revenue Get Fund had lost as a result of capping. It's well over 4 billion. And 4 billion to Get Fund would have solved a lot of problems. Now, Get Fund is in charge of scholarships, it's in charge of infrastructure, it's in charge of even buying vehicles for senior high schools and universities in the country, it's in charge of printing of textbooks, a lot of things, even student allowances in the colleges of education. So if you are capping it, what do you think you are going to do? So next year, if you look at the 2023 budget, Get Fund would have received 4.6 billion in revenue or resources for Get Fund. But the minister has reduced it to 1.8 billion, which is less than 40%. And how do you want Get Fund to survive? Meanwhile, they cannot go into the bond market again because Dachi will not be able to raise any money.
Because of these haircuts.
Haircuts, yes. So no bank will be ready to give money to Get Fund again. Because even the investment they have made in Get Fund now, or the Dachi bond, they don't know when they will even get it. Because by next year, 2023, it's 0% interest. You see, 0% interest. So I don't know what they're going to do. So myself and the chairman of the Education Committee, Honorable Siama, we decided that no, we must save Get Fund. So we discussed it for our leadership, and they asked me to take the lead in that direction. So we made it a motion, and then in March or so this year, the House adopted the motion that we should decap Get Fund. So the next step would be to put in a private member's bill. Yeah, we worked on that, and then the Speaker accepted it, that it's a good move. So we laid it 2 weeks ago. It has now been referred to the Finance Committee, and then with the leadership of the Education Committee to deliberate on it and then report back to the House. I think because of the estimates and all this here, we are not able to sit on it yet. But I am very sure that very soon we will sit on it and then bring the report to plenary for a decision. So we want to amend the Capping and Realignment Act that was passed by Parliament in 2017, and then take Get Fund out of it. So if we take Get Fund out of institutions that are capped, I can assure you that Get Fund will get a lot of money and can do more than they are doing now. As we're talking now, they owe contractors over 200 million Ghana cedis. 200 million Ghana cedis, contractors. And Ministry of Finance is withholding 800 million Ghana cedis that is due to Get Fund between last year and this year. So if that money is given to Get Fund now, you will see that they can pay all contractors before Christmas. So let me just use this opportunity to appeal to the Minister of Finance that he's unduly punishing Get Fund. He's retarding progress of education in the country. So you should release whatever is due to Get Fund to them so that they can pay contractors. I can also tell you that those who printed the textbooks that were distributed recently, they have not been paid anything. The publishers and the printers, they have not been paid, and they are crying. Some of them said they had gone to borrow money at banks in dollar value. At the time they borrowed the money, it was just about 8 cedis or so to the dollar. Now look at what it is, 13, 14. And they must pay back at that rate. So they are losing in business. Money. Yes. So they are not going to make any profit on their investment. So if Ministry of Finance is refusing to pay Get Fund, it cannot also pay the contractors and then those who printed materials or textbooks for the various. So if the government is happy, oh, we have supplied textbooks to schools, it is to the detriment of somebody's business. That is the situation.
Have you spoken with the education minister as a committee or individually to try and see if you can get his support on this? Is he supporting this move to uncap get fund?
I don't know his position, and I don't think we will take the matter to him because he has little or no role to play in it. Yes, he will be happy that Get Fund gets a lot of money. Yes, but as an individual, I don't think he can, unless he comes to the house and when it is voting time on it, whether he will object to it or he will support it. So, as an individual, we will not go to him to lobby that, oh, he must support the bill. He can do so on his own, but we believe strongly that both sides of the house are in favor of the motion that or the bill that we have laid.
Honorable, I think last month you made a statement on national service personnel and the allowance.
Yeah.
Yes, 559 is meager. That's what some people have said. It's not enough. Sometimes it's in arrears for 3 months before it is paid. It goes back to the question of what government can afford. These are trying times. Your government increased the NSS allowance from just a little over 300 cedis to 559. There are those who said that you did so for political reasons, because in 2016 you were just about exiting. So it was as though you sought to punish the incoming government then. Now you are back again and you are saying that the national service allowance should be increased.
You see, it was not done intentionally to punish any government. Who knew at that time that NPP would be coming to government? Do you see it? Because NDC was also preparing to continue in government. And we realized at the point when we were reading the budget or present the budget that no, what we are paying the national service personnel was small, looking at the increasing cost of living. So if we increase it from 330 or so to 559, it was good. We felt that they must also be made to live just as any ordinary worker at the time. You see, so that was why we increased the allowance. And for 6 years now, they have been living on that allowance. And if you have a son or daughter who is on national service far away from you, and he's being paid 559 Ghana cedis a month, will you enjoy it? Will you be happy? Now, those on NAPCO, they are paying them 700. So if you are paying somebody NAPCO 700 and they are all graduates, is it because he has got the tag national service so he should be punished? No. So I felt strongly that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. And you cannot punish anybody because he's doing national service. National service is not meant to punish anybody. They are delivering service. And they must be adequately rewarded as they are working. Because if you go to some of the rural areas and you see national service personnel, you thank them, you appreciate what they are doing. Some, they go, there's no electricity, there's no water, but they manage and live with the people. So the road even to the community where they serve is very bad, but they are able to live within the community. So we must show appreciation for whatever they do. So you don't allow or you don't expect parents to be supporting them financially again after they had paid their fees at the university for 4 years. Then when they are doing national service, you
parents are still
supporting them. No. Meanwhile, they have other siblings in the house that must be taken care of.
How much do you think will be reasonable in these times?
Well, I think the minimum of 1,000 Ghana cedis per service personnel should be okay.
Sometimes yes. We have up to 100,000 national service personnel. Oh. Government would say they cannot afford that.
You see, when you say government cannot afford, I don't agree with you. Because there is a lot of waste in the system.
So you think it's about priority?
Yes, if you cut down on the waste, we can take care of them. 115,000 service personnel were posted in September. And then the nurses are also going to be posted this week or so. So I am of the view that a minimum of 1,000 cedis for them is okay. Because now look at the cost of transportation to and fro from wherever they are working. And it is not easy. So they must be compensated so that they can go and work where the environment where they serve at times I have to take that into consideration.
That will be 120 million Ghana cedis every month for NSPs.
So it's 1.2 billion.
1.2 billion.
Government can afford it.
Every year.
Yeah, government can afford it.
Because there are those who have said that government wage bill is already bloated.
Yes, because I even doubt if government will even get it to the 1,000 because the allocation to
private agencies.
They pay on their own. They pay on their own, and upon that they pay even to national service 20%.